Joined here by Head of Development, Nigel Lappin. Nigel, we're well and truly in our pre-season now with round one right around the corner. Some really strong showings from our younger players throughout the pre-season so far. We'll start off with the Ollies. Ollie Dempsey and Ollie Henry have showed that really strong marking ability and their ability to finish off opportunities into goals.
Yeah, they certainly have, ahead of the ball. So both play sort of different roles. So Ollie Henry, as we saw last year, very smart decision maker. So his ability to be able to recognise opportunities to get forward, get dangerous, and then when he gets his chances to be able to mark the ball as well as he does, and his finishing skills have been very, very impressive for us. He's continued to have a really great pre-season, hasn't missed too much. Obviously missed the Pracky game on the weekend, but he'll be firing and ready to go for round one. Really excited about what he'll deliver this year. And Ollie Dempsey's just been someone who's just got better with every week that he's spent at the footy club. He come in with an enormous amount of talent. Having not played heaps of footy as a junior, he's just got better week in, week out. He's built a really good frame now to be able to sustain what it needs to be an AFL footballer. Unbelievably high work rate, gets from contest to contest, understands his role really well, and as you just mentioned before, just those little finishing touches, the things that he can do that others probably, well, not many others can. It's going to excite the fans for a long time, as it did on the weekend with only 10,000 there.
And Shannon Neal, another forward, has been able to show his marking ability, getting up for those big clunks, and his craft to finish off a couple of goals from some tricky positions as well. Yeah,
well, Shannon had a really good emerging year last year. He became a really good player in the VFL consistently for us, where he kicked a lot of goals, but also just his work rate was high, and all the while he improved his craft. He's pretty young still as a key position player, and we know they take time, but he's been really promising in the early games. His work rate, he's understands the system really well and complements the other guys around him, and we hope he continues to emerge and knocks down the door this year.
There's another Ollie here. There's a few Ollies going around now, but Ollie Wiltshire kicked 5 in that VFL Pracky game against the Bombers. Looked really strong and being able to read the pack and crumb off the pack and finish his opportunities as well. Ted Closey in that same game started really strongly, set up a couple of goals, kicked one himself in that game.
Yeah, well, both are different players. So Ollie, as you mentioned, he relies a lot on his decision making. He reads the game, as I mentioned with Ollie Henry before, he reads the game really early, gets himself to dangerous spots. He's been very smart. So from day one, he was coached really well, obviously at local level, with the background that he's had, and really good instinctively as well. But he's come in, understands the systems and structures, pretty much got them down pat in the first couple of weeks. So smart boy. And he was able to capitalise on all of that. And off the work of some of the others, you mentioned Ted Closey, he's a real barometer for our VFL team. We've got a Spirit Award that we give out every week. I'm sure he'll feature prominently every week in that. He's just the epitome of what we want to stand for as an academy group, but also as a footy club. He values all the right things, and it's a credit to him. He'll continue to develop because he just puts the work in, and he's as honest as the day's long.
And going through the midfield now, one of our draftees, George Stevens, has played a couple of Pracky games, shown his strength in that inside mid sort of situation, and he's one that's really benefited from some of our senior players and taking that craft into his game.
Yeah, definitely. We saw George play a couple of games with the VFL last year, and we were really impressed and really excited that we got the opportunity to draft George. George can play other positions as well, but he's a big, strong body. He gets from contest to contest pretty well. His stoppage craft is very good for an 18-year-old, but it's only going to get better. And he combined really well with the other guys that are in there on the weekend. They're all really smart guys. So Mitch Hardy's obviously a mature age that we got last year. He's developing really well. And you throw in there Mitch Nevitt and James Willis and all of those guys, they've played enough footy now together that they're starting to build some really good chemistry in and around the stoppages, and their patterns and the systems that they play away from the ball has really helped the VFL play really well in the first couple of weeks. So we're really excited about all of those guys.
And James Willis, you mentioned there, is in that sort of group of guys with Jai Clark and Oscar Murdoch, who had somewhat interrupted years last year. It's been great to see them out in the field this year for some minutes early in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Brucey, as we like to call him, James. He's had terrible luck since he got to the footy club from a body point of view. But the thing that's been most impressive about him, he's just rocked up every day with a great attitude to get to work, improve his body. We know he's got the footy talent. He's very good inside mid with lots of power and a good ball user. And he's got the ability to be able to go forward and clunk a couple and kick a couple of goals. Those guys are really hard to find. So we're excited about what he'll be able to produce this year, but we know it's going to take time with him, and we're prepared to take that time with him. So he's exciting. Osk, as you mentioned, he's had a few niggles last year. He's had a pretty good pre-season, had a couple of things go on through January with a little hip, but he's sort of in the similar mould to like a collar. He's just someone that you can just put on one of the opposition's best players, and he's hard to play on. He gets to work on them and makes it a really difficult day for him, and joins in when he can. So looking forward to his development this year as well.
And Clarkey obviously had a really strong
of course.
game in that Bombers game, yeah.
Well, he's been fantastic the first couple of weeks. What you see from Jai is what you get. He's an every-time competitor. Probably enjoys winning the contest more than anything, but if he's not doing that, the thing that he enjoys the next most is his ability to be able to win the ball back off the opposition, and that was really evident the other night. Fans are going to love watching him play because he plays for the jumper, he plays for his teammates, and he plays for the right reasons. And he's also got enough attacking flair that, in time, he's going to develop into a really good midfielder for us, if he's not already this year.
Moving down back now, Lawson Humphries has really impressed me with his kicking on both feet as well, and his tenacity around the ball. Emerson Jecker has slotted really back well down into that back line with his intercepting, and even snuck forward from a 50-metre penalty and kicked a goal in the Essendon game. And O'Shane Mullen as well has got that real turn of speed and his ability to lock down on a small forward.
Yeah, I think those three guys, if I can start with East, speak to the diversity. I think the recruiting staff and Andy Mackey as well, who was heavily involved in all of that stuff, have done a great job at bringing diversity into the club. All of those players are at different ages, different stages of their career, and they play different positions, and they've all slotted in really well. Having a few senior players come in and be part of the academy program has been amazing for the learning of our younger players. With the experience that they add, it means that we can coach less and they can learn from their peers, which we all learn unbelievably well from them. So to get to the players, so Emerson clearly had a few years at the Hawks. He's come in, had a strong pre-season, didn't miss too much, and he slotted in really well. His ability to be able to contest really strongly in the air and provide a fair bit of drive. He loves getting the ball in his hands and loves using it well. You spoke about Lawson. Wonderful young man. He brings a calmness to our academy group. The boys really enjoy his company, and as I said, he's got really calming influence on the group and other people. And you see that in the way that he plays. You mentioned before he's a really good decision maker with ball in hand. He doesn't carry a lot of stress, so all his attention can go to the important things in a game, and that's reading the cues, and he does that really well. He loves joining in, and he doesn't take himself or the game too seriously. He enjoys it for what it is. And O'Shane, yeah, well, O'Shane's developing unbelievably well. It's good to see. Again, as I spoke about with the diversity, we've got a few wonderful Irish players in our team that not just add to our dynamic on field, but off the field. They're just wonderful people, and they help shape the culture of our club. And O'Shane's no different to those. He's got some unique abilities. His ability to be able to shut down some of the opposition's best players, and not just their best players, their fastest ones. And then his want and will to join into the game. Again, he doesn't carry too much emotional baggage and enjoys a challenge, so that's going to hold him in good stead for the jobs that we'll give him this year.
Connor O'Sullivan has really been able to put his head down and have a really, really strong pre-season. We saw in the Carlton game he was lining up on the likes of Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow. What was that like in that Carlton game? Yeah,
fantastic experience for him. He doesn't get overawed by that and sees that as an opportunity for growth and a challenge that he's willing to take on. And again, it speaks to the attitude of all the boys that we were able to bring into the footy club this year. They got great attitudes, really good growth mindsets. One of the things that we love about Connor is his versatility. He's got the ability to be able to play in any position. He can play key position at both ends of the ground, and we could pretty much play him on a flank, on a wing, and I reckon eventually too he could play as an inside mid, similar to the way that Mark Blitzarves does. So he's really exciting. Again, he values the right things. He's an unbelievably gifted athlete, so he's fast. He's a really good endurance athlete, and not only is he good at those things, he values those things. So in a game, you'll see him put that into practice by getting back really hard to help his teammates and then wanting to join in and attack. And those players are extremely valuable, particularly when they're playing behind the ball.
Now, Mitch Edwards, Joe Furphy and Phoenix Foster have all been really great contributions to our program. We've had a couple of challenges throughout this pre-season so far, but they've seemed to be really settled within our program as it is. Yeah,
they're settled, and they've had a few sort of hiccups. Phoenix has had a couple of unforeseen injuries in the first couple of games of the year. That's not going to happen every week. We're looking forward to him getting out there and putting his best foot forward. He's developed a lot over his 12 months that he's been here. Joe Furphy, clearly coming from the basketball background, he's a big man, Joe. looking forward to we've been working pretty closely with him as a development team, and he's a wonderful man. He puts a lot of work into learning the nuances and the craft of the game, and we're excited about what he'll deliver. And Big Mitch has had a few issues, as a lot of big ruckmen do, with growing as much as what he has over the last few years. He's just had a bit of a sore back that we're getting on top of now, and he's a pretty exciting player. He's really competitive, even though he's sort of slight of frame at the moment. He's going to develop into a really big, strong ruckman. He loves the parts of the game that you want ruckman to love. He loves the contest, he loves the aerial contest, he loves hunting the ball when the ball hits the ground, and when he gets a ball in his hands, he's a really good ball user. So pretty excited about all of those three big men as they develop.
Great, thanks for that update, Nige, and we'll touch base throughout the year.
Yeah, always look forward to it. Thank you very much.